Hey guys, when we think about the media we consume, we often stick to what's familiar. We watch shows and movies produced in our own country, consume news tailored for our cultural bubble, and browse social media feeds that reflect our own experiences, even if the news is not about our group. That's just how it works. Humans prefer to know about opinions similar to their own, that fit within their own preconceived notion of how the world should be. Humans also prefer relatable things. That's why social media applications recommend them, because they are easier to consume and keep the users around longer.
We find over and over again that that ends up being the healthiest thing to value in the ranking models. People ask a lot about the algorithms,
Yeah.
feel like it's a black box. Everyone's always feels like they deserve more reach than they get, and sometimes that's the case. But one of the most important things to look at if you're trying to evaluate how your videos or anything is doing on Instagram is definitely the sends. Sends, I would look at sends per reach. So of the people who saw it, how many of them sent it to a friend? Because that tends to be the content that does the best because it tends to drive the most value for the overall community. You've
But have you ever stopped to think about what we might be missing out on? By limiting ourselves to familiar forms of media, the same movies, directors, actors, singers, games, etc., we are only getting a narrow view of the world. We're essentially putting ourselves in a cultural bubble where our perspectives are shaped by a single narrative. It's easy to get caught up in our own cultural norms and biases without realizing that there is a whole world out there waiting to be explored. This echo chamber effect can be incredibly limiting. It prevents us from encountering new ideas, challenging our own assumptions, and makes us less empathetic towards others. By diversifying our media intake, on the other hand, we can break free from this cycle and gain more of a complete understanding of the world. We are also missing out on the chance to understand our own biases and assumptions, and learn about the world from people who have lived through different struggles, triumphs, and ways of life. The importance of diversifying our media sources cannot be overstated, really. It's essential to seek out a range of voices, perspectives, and experiences. This is especially crucial in today's world where misinformation runs more rampant every day by people whose only purpose is making as many people be on their side. But foreign media has the power to break down those cultural barriers and open our eyes to new ideas, customs, and ways of thinking. It's a window into a world that's vastly different from our own, and it's precisely this kind of exposure that we need. You don't need to be necessarily understanding of all of the ways of living that have ever existed everywhere, but you really need to look at different cultures with open mindedness and understanding. By consuming foreign media, we're not only broadening our cultural understanding but also gaining a more informed perspective on global issues. We're able to see the interconnectedness of the world and how events in one part of the world can have a ripple effect on others. It can lead us to understand the context of issues taking place or actions happening around us. It also helps us see other people as human and as individuals, as opposed to groups. Talking about others in the form of groups is also something our brains tend to do, just like we prefer to hear about opinions that we agree with. It is easier to just cluster groups of people into a category either based on religion, class, ethnicity, nationality, gender, etc., but we often forget how societies can be vastly different on the inside, and a good way to mitigate that is to look at our own society and recognize that other societies are also the same. Even if they are not multi ethnic or multiracial societies, you will find major differences inside each and every country. But it's not just about global issues. Foreign media can also introduce us to new forms of storytelling, new genres, new styles of filmmaking. It's like discovering a whole new world of entertainment that we never knew existed. Let's face it, the media we consume plays a huge role in shaping our worldview, and by only consuming domestic or familiar media, we're essentially limiting our understanding of the world to a single perspective. It's like trying to learn about the entire world from a single book. You're only getting one angle, one piece of the puzzle, that when solved can lead to a better understanding and possibly acceptance of other individuals who were once just a group in your head. Now I'd like to talk about my personal experience with the subject and why would a random Arab guy just come around making a video about such a specific and niche topic. And the thing is, I care. Growing up, I had a pretty closed up childhood in a very homogeneous society, and then I moved. A lot. By the time I was 19, I had landed in my fourth country of residence, my 10th city of residence, and I felt alienated everywhere and faced lots of hardships by the time, and that is what drove me to consume foreign media in the first place. I felt like I had to relearn everything about everybody. I need historical context on why things are taking place, why are these people thinking like that, why is that part of their culture, and why do they hold these values so dearly? From the nouvelle vague in France, rejecting traditional filmmaking conventions in favor of experimentation in movies like Breathless and Vivre by the brilliant Jean-Luc Godard, to Italian neorealism depicting the misery of the Italians during and after the Second World War with movies such as Bicycle Thieves and Rome Open City, to a movie like In the Mood for Love by Wong Kar-wai following a love story in 1960s Hong Kong apartment building, to the oppression of the Egyptian farmers in Yusuf Shahin's The Land, to the Mauritanian drama film Waiting for Happiness that tackles the subject of alienation that people who leave their countries for the West feel when coming back home. I honestly watched everything I could get my hands on, listened to all kinds of music with translations for the languages that I didn't understand, from Italian rock and folk to all kinds of hip-hop, mainly American, Arab, and British, to Colombian and Mexican music, to Irish sea shanties and anti-British resistance songs. Everything was on the table. I tried to diversify my video games intake as well. Played games by foreign developers like This War of Mine made by a Polish developer and inspired by the Siege of Sarajevo, to Indica that just came out depicting a Russian nun on a journey of self-discovery with no other than the devil by her side, to Venba, which is a cute narrative-driven cooking game about an Indian family that immigrated to the US. Most of the media that I mentioned is harmless, it's mainly for entertainment. But if you read between the lines and try to understand the characters' motivations, you will be surprised by the amount of depth there. A movie about the oppression of Egyptian farmers might not be interesting on its own, maybe for some people, but if well made, provides an insight into the daily life of an Egyptian farmer, what they love, hate, cultural norms, etc. Same within The Mood for Love, for example, you understand a bit more about the work culture of Hong Kong in that time period. Same thing with music as well. Music can also speak for the people, what makes them dance, what makes them sad, etc. But music can also be more personal, more intimate. For example, Kendrick Lamar on To Pimp a Butterfly or Mad City gave us a glimpse into the thoughts of an American black man, what he loves, hates, what his culture is like, who he looks up to, where he grew up, and what it's like. And some of these media can get heavy for sure, whatever they are really, whether they are songs, music, or films. But it makes you empathize. It makes you understand the other people's perspective, struggles, fears, and points of view. And one of the most significant experiences of consuming foreign media has been consuming media about war. Now, this is gonna get heavy, but for example, West Beirut, a movie following teenagers going through the Lebanese civil war, or what about the heartbreaking Jenin Jenin, which is a documentary about the Jenin refugee camp in Palestine. And honestly, the list goes on and on and on. Media depicting war shows you a society at its worst. It reminds you that sometimes it isn't all sunshine and rainbows, but it also makes you human. You might feel down for a bit, but you might also feel inspired to stand up for those who can't, and be principled and opinionated on the issues that matter. Because war does not discriminate. And if you, my friend, think that you are far, far away, I would just like to remind you that World War II started because a man was assassinated. That's it. So stand up for others, and one day they might return the favor. Consuming foreign media has not only enriched my cultural understanding, but it has also helped me become a more empathetic and open-minded person. I feel like I'm more aware of the world around me and more connected to people from different cultures and backgrounds. And the goal of all of this is not to replace your current media habits, but to supplement them. To weave into your daily media intake, whether that is news, film, games, music, etc., more diversity. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one benefiting. You will be the more knowledgeable one, the more compassionate and understanding one, which will lead to less fear and confusion and will lead to you experiencing just a tiny bit more of what life has to offer. So what are the challenges that might come up when you try to consume more foreign media? What's stopping you? I would like to take a bunch of guesses as to why and how you might get over that. One major challenge is language. Not everyone speaks multiple languages fluently, and subtitles or dubbing may not be available. However, with the rise of streaming services and online platforms, it has become more easier than ever to access foreign media with subtitles or dubbing. We can also seek out media that uses visual storytelling, making language less of a barrier, maybe like animation film or art, drawings, paintings, etc. Another challenge is cultural differences. We may not always understand the cultural context or references in foreign media, but this is where the real growth happens. We can take the time to research, learn, and ask questions. Try making a bunch of online friends. Go into Discord servers of people talking about their own culture and making art, expressing it. If you're into photography, game development, making movies, art, etc., explore that kind of art in other regions, research it, learn how it developed, and understand the context. I know it might be difficult or off putting and might come off as rude, but asking people questions about their culture in what they might conceive as an inappropriate manner is okay. Remember, most of these people out there are already open to such inquiries. That's why they put themselves out there in the first place. Now let's talk about that responsibly part. Why do I think you should consume foreign media responsibly? What do I even mean by that? Well, first of all, anything that we consume is created intentionally. It comes down to what the reason is. And there are a bunch of questions that you need to keep in mind while consuming foreign media. Is that media created by a foreign government or is it independent? Would they want to pass on a certain message? Like for the intended audience of this piece of media? Is this message malicious? Is it obvious or subliminal? Like, you can play Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and be like, this is media about the Middle East, but is it though? Why does it choose to depict Americans, Arabs, and all of the other ethnicities involved in the way that it does? Like I said, all of these questions have to be just in the back of your mind while watching, especially when it comes down to political and controversial topics. Think of it as keeping a watchful eye while you're enjoying a piece of entertainment that you're consuming. It's just basically a warning to consume it carefully. So, with all of that said, here is a challenge. Write it down somewhere and set a reminder or like on a post it on your desk or something. But look up a country that you really like or hate, or a place that you have really strong opinions about. Look it up on YouTube and watch a video of someone from your country or a similar one who visited that other country and watch it fully. You can also look up people walking through cities or top movies or music made by people from that country. And don't watch to judge, either positively or negatively, even if you do not like or understand some things. Just watch and try to understand what led to this piece of media being the way it is. I'm not saying to morally agree with everything happening or try to excuse anything. Just understand what might have led to this, and look at the others as individuals and not as a group. I would honestly love to know what you think of this. Is it too naive? Why and why not? Did you learn something new or try the challenge? Come and let me know if this video reaches you, if you did this, and let's talk about it in the comments. I gave up on the algorithm picking up on my videos anyways, so I doubt commenting will change much, but I'm asking this because I'm genuinely curious. Also, let me know if there are some more media from your country that you would like me to watch. And yeah, thanks for watching. Like and sub and all that jazz.